The sun hung low over the dusty plains, casting long shadows across the rough wooden buildings of the frontier town. A lone rider kicked up clouds of dirt as he approached, his hat pulled low against the wind, and the weight of the day pressing on his shoulders. In the corner of the town square, a young Apache woman crouched, her hands trembling as she held out a single worn coin. She looked up at him, eyes full of fear, exhaustion, and an unspoken plea. "You spent your last dollar for me. I have to bear you a child," she whispered, her voice trembling like the wind through the tumbleweeds. The cowboy took the coin in his calloused hand, staring at her with a mixture of surprise and disbelief. He had little to his name, only the horse under him, the revolver at his side, and the stubborn pride that had kept him alive all these years. Yet here was a woman, beaten by hunger and hardship, entrusting him with her future. Without a word, he offered her his last meal, the last warmth of his fire, the last comfort he could give in a land that had shown him little mercy. She hesitated, ashamed to accept what he had so little of, but hunger and survival left her no choice. As the days passed, they traveled together across the barren plains, sharing stories, food, and quiet moments beside campfires. She learned the rhythm of his life, the small gestures that revealed a man who had seen too much pain but had never lost the capacity for kindness. He learned of her past, how her people had been driven from their land, how she had survived against impossible odds, and how the harshness of the world had forced her to depend on strangers. Despite the differences in their worlds, a fragile trust began to form, growing in the spaces between shared meals and long, silent nights. One evening, under the glow of the campfire, she finally spoke the truth she had been carrying like a stone in her chest. I have to bear you a child," she said softly, her voice barely above a whisper. The cowboy's eyes widened, and for a moment neither spoke. The world had taught him that survival was a solitary struggle, that attachments were dangerous. Yet here was a woman offering him something far more profound than survival. Her trust, her vulnerability, her life intertwined with his. The Wild West offered no forgiveness, no shelter from danger. One day, a rival gang, desperate and ruthless, discovered their presence. Dust rose like smoke around the camp as horses charged, and the cowboy stood between the attackers and the woman, revolver ready, heart pounding. He fought not only for his life, but for the bond that had grown in the silence and firelight of their shared journey. She stayed close behind him, unarmed but fearless, her resolve strengthened by his courage and her own determination to survive. By the time the first light of dawn touched the horizon, the danger had passed, leaving them bruised, exhausted and closer than ever. They rested, wrapped in blankets beside a small creek, knowing that in a world defined by cruelty and hardship, they had found something rare, a connection born of sacrifice, resilience, and unspoken love. She held her belly, the future of their child a symbol of hope and continuity, and he watched over her, a quiet promise etched into every protective gesture. As they rode toward the rising sun, the land stretched endlessly before them, harsh and unforgiving, yet full of possibility. Their journey was far from over, and the challenges ahead would be many. But in each other, they had discovered a sanctuary stronger than any shelter, a warmth that not even the coldest desert wind could extinguish. And as the baby they were to bring into the world became a living testament to survival, trust, and love, they realized that even in the harshest corners of the Wild West, hearts could be kind, courage could endure, and life could begin anew.